Welcome, precious souls, to a new dawn graced by the divine favor. As we open our hearts and minds to the day ahead, let's draw wisdom from the good book, our wellspring of knowledge and inspiration. In Paul's letter to the Ephesians, we read, "In him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins, in accordance with the riches of God's grace that he lavished on us. With all wisdom and understanding, he made known to us the mystery of his will according to his good pleasure which he purposed in Christ." Ephesians 1:7-9. In these powerful verses, Paul reminds us of the profound nature of God's grace, his love and favor that extends to each one of us, regardless of our circumstances. Now let us dive deeper into the essence of these verses. What does it truly mean to live under God's grace? How can we navigate our day-to-day experiences knowing we are wrapped in his boundless favor? When we speak of grace, we are referring to the unmerited favor and love of God. It is a divine assistance given to us for our regeneration or sanctification. It is an undeserved gift, a blessing bestowed upon us not because of anything we have done, but simply because of who God is, loving, merciful, and gracious. Isn't it liberating to know that, despite our flaws and shortcomings, we are recipients of God's boundless grace? Doesn't it empower you to tread on life's path with renewed strength, knowing that his favor envelops you? I invite you to ponder on these questions, letting them resonate within you. Let's look to the scriptures once more for further enlightenment. In 2 Corinthians 12:9, Paul recounts God's assurance to him, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." This verse serves as a divine reminder that even in our weaknesses, trials, and tribulations, God's grace is enough. His favor, once bestowed upon us, equips us with the strength we need to rise above our challenges. So as we wake each morning and embrace the fresh canvas of a new day, let us carry this wisdom with us. Let's allow the dawn's first light to remind us of the grace that bathes us in its glow, the divine favor that breathes strength into our spirits. Let's inscribe this truth in the depth of our hearts and let it guide our actions, our words, and our thoughts. When we stumble, as we inevitably will, let's remember that these moments of faltering are not signs of our downfall, but opportunities for God's grace to shine brightest. In our weaknesses, his power is unveiled, transforming our trials into triumphs, our tests into testimonies. Living under God's grace isn't merely about passively receiving his blessings. It's about actively integrating this divine favor into the very fabric of our lives. It means making the conscious choice each day to align ourselves with his will, to trust in his plans, and to seek his guidance in every decision we make. Practical ways to integrate this divine favor into our lives might be as simple as beginning each day with a moment of quiet reflection and gratitude for his grace. As we go about our daily routines, we can make the effort to pause, breathe, and in the stillness of those moments silently reaffirm to ourselves, "I am enfolded in God's grace. His favor is my guiding light." As we proceed through our day, enshrouded in God's grace, we are likely to encounter challenges. These obstacles, whether big or small, are part and parcel of our human journey. But remember, it is precisely in these moments that the power of God's favor is revealed most dramatically. When we stand at the foot of our personal mountains, when we face those Goliaths that seem insurmountable, let's not forget the grace that encircles us, the favor that propels us forward. Much like David, who with faith in the divine favor faced the giant, let's confront our trials with the assurance of God's grace. When we do this, our challenges cease to be mere problems. They become platforms for the manifestation of God's grace. They become opportunities for us to demonstrate not our own might, but the divine favor that resides within us. Drawing strength from this understanding of God's grace and favor, we can face the challenges that life presents with a newfound resilience. Whether we're navigating a personal crisis, grappling with loss, or wrestling with self-doubt, we can rest in the knowledge that God's grace is not only around us, but within us. This divine favor infuses us with the courage to confront our difficulties, the wisdom to learn from them, and the fortitude to rise above them. Just as the river carves its path through the mountain not by force but by persistence, so too can we shape our lives under God's grace. As we align ourselves with His divine favor, we create a life not defined by our struggles but illuminated by His love. And it's not just in the face of challenges that God's grace can be our guide. In times of joy and prosperity too, it's crucial to remember the source of our blessings. Just as a tree, deeply rooted and reaching skyward, draws nourishment from both the earth and the heavens, we too should remain grounded in humility while acknowledging the divine favor that allows us to flourish. Our accomplishments, our triumphs, our moments of joy are all imbued with God's grace. When we celebrate our victories, let's also remember to offer our gratitude to Him, acknowledging His divine favor that is reflected in the blessings we enjoy. Our journey with God's grace is not a destination, but a journey, a continuous process of growth and transformation. As we embark on this journey each day, let us remember that we do not walk alone. We are accompanied by His divine favor, guided by His love, and fortified by His strength. We are, each of us, vessels of His grace, carriers of His love. The divine favor bestowed upon us is not a static gift, but a dynamic force, a transformative power that molds us, shapes us, and elevates us. As we recognize and embrace this truth, we not only empower ourselves but also inspire others to tap into the divine favor that is freely offered to all. So let's continue, dear souls, on our journey towards understanding and living God's grace. Let's meet each new day with the awareness of His favor upon us. Let's navigate each challenge with the knowledge that His grace is sufficient, His strength made perfect in our weakness. And as we do, let's remember to extend this grace to those around us, to shine His light into the world through our words, our actions, and our lives. Remember, dear hearts, that in each of us, God has planted a seed of potential, a divine spark that only needs the nurturing light of His grace to ignite. So let's stoke that flame within us. Let's allow God's favor to be the wind that fans our flames, the air that breathes life into our dreams, and the warmth that soothes our hearts in times of trouble. The path to realizing this divine potential will not always be smooth. There will be times of turmoil, moments of uncertainty, instances where we may feel lost or alone. But in these trying times, let's not lose sight of His grace. Let's remember that even in the heart of the storm, the sun still shines above the clouds, waiting for the moment to break through and bathe the world in its light. Similarly, God's grace, His divine favor, is always there, waiting for us to reach out and embrace it. Let's also remember to share this understanding of God's grace with others. Each one of us has a unique and personal experience of His divine favor. By sharing our experiences, our testimonies, we become beacons of His light, illuminating the path for others who may be searching for their way. There's strength in unity, power in shared experience. When we stand together under God's grace, we amplify His divine favor. We become not just recipients of His blessings, but also vessels of His love, channels of His grace, mirrors reflecting His light back into the world. In this collective expression of faith, we find a shared strength that reinforces our individual resilience and fortifies our communal bond. As we continue on this journey, let's remember the essence of God's grace, an unyielding, all-encompassing love that empowers us, uplifts us, and guides us. Let's strive each day to live in alignment with this divine favor, and in doing so, let's illuminate our paths, enrich our lives, and transform our world with His love. Through His grace we are blessed, through His favor we are empowered, and through His love we are united. So, dear hearts, as we rise each day, let's renew our commitment to live under the umbrella of God's grace, to bask in the warmth of His favor, and to reflect His love in our lives. Let's strive not just to understand His divine favor, but to embody it, to let it shape us, guide us, and inspire us. God's grace isn't just a comforting thought or an abstract concept. It is a living, breathing presence in our lives, a force that propels us forward, uplifts us when we falter, and renews us when we are weary. Embracing God's grace is not just about acknowledging His favor, it's about letting it transform us from the inside out, letting it shape our actions, our relationships, and our perspective on life. So as we part ways today, remember that each new dawn is an invitation to embrace God's grace, to lean into His favor, and to let His love guide our path. And as the day unfolds, let us carry this grace with us, not just in our hearts, but in our actions, our words, and our lives. Remember, you are wrapped in God's grace, blessed with His favor, and loved beyond measure. Let's meet tomorrow with hearts open to His grace, minds aligned with His will, and spirits attuned to His love. We're so glad you could join us today. If this prayer has inspired you, make sure to subscribe for a fresh morning prayer daily to start your day with a dose of spirituality. Wishing you all a day brimming with blessings.